Hello and welcome to Close Calls on the 42.e, brought to you in association with Eirsport. Thank God it's Friday, so we can look forward to the biggest sporting event of the weekend, and it is, of course, the All-Ireland Ladies Football Final between Dublin and Mayo. Joining me, Gavan Casey, in studio here in Journal Towers is Emma Duffy of the 42.e. Emma, how are things? Are you excited?
Gav, I'm so excited. I can't wait for it. Really looking forward to Sunday now.
Yeah, you've been buzzing all day.
Yeah.
And, I wish I was going to the game with you. I'd say a bit of crack on Sunday.
Big
all right.
time.
But we are delighted to be joined also by the all-rounder, former rugby star, or current rugby star, former Dublin All-Ireland winner, Lindsay Peat, also a basketball international and a soccer underage international. God knows how she has the time to even speak to us. But Lindsay, how are things?
I'm good, Gavin. Thanks really for having me.
Yeah, are you you're looking forward to the weekend, I suppose? You're going to the game yourself, I believe.
I am absolutely buzzing. I wouldn't be surprised now if I have the boots in the bag and I won't need an invite, and I'll try and get out onto that Croke Park pitch on Sunday. But no, really, really excited for Sunday, and yes, I'll be there.
Super. I suppose let's crack on, so guys, and we'll talk about the game. The big thing for me, I suppose, is Cork aren't there, but it does open the window for both these teams that have been probably searching for All Irelands. In Mayo's case for 14 years, in Dublin's case for 7. I suppose, which team do you think mentally, Lindsay, are kind of in a better place here? Like Dublin having been in finals and lost them, and now they have this chance to finally get over the line against another team, or Mayo kind of coming in a little bit, maybe not quite fresh because they've been thereabouts, but haven't been in finals, I suppose, as recently. Which team do you think is better suited to do it on Sunday?
Personally, I think Dublin are better suited mentally to do it on Sunday. I was only actually reading Cian O'Sullivan's article last week saying that, after being in so many finals, you just become accustomed to your routine and the build-up and embracing people banging on your bus. And so this won't be new to Dublin. Like, they've done it for 4 years, and even though they've lost it, that build-up and that excitement will be taken away a bit from them. I don't feel they'll feel the pressure from that side of things. However, they will feel slight pressure possibly from the fact that they have been in 4 All Irelands in a row and lost them. So, 3 previous, and this being their 4th, sorry. So, I do think they're going to be better prepared mentally, because I think Mayo haven't been there in 10 years, and they will have to deal with the bigger build-up and obviously the occasion on the day, and obviously going into the big chasm that is Croke Park with a big crowd roaring at them. So, I think Dublin's slightly edged on that side of things.
Is there a danger maybe that, look, Dublin aren't obviously going to take Mayo for granted remotely, but just because they're so used to coming up against Cork in these finals, that they might even subconsciously view Mayo as a bigger opportunity to finally get it done for the first time since 2010, where, not that they'll take their foot off the gas or anything like that, but just that sort of change in scenery might detract a little bit from their focus or their preparation? Or maybe they might get a big PD.
I wouldn't think so. I think, Mick Bowen himself is a professional man, and he's had experience with the men's and obviously Clare's football, and obviously he previously took Dublin women's, and he won't let the girls fall short of that. They're a young squad. They've been in minor finals. They've won All Irelands. They've obviously lost many seniors. So I don't think they'll take Mayo for granted. And let's not forget, there's just been a point between the teams in the last 2 meetings. Mayo overcoming Dublin in the league in Croke Park, and obviously last year Dublin getting out the gate by the skin of their teeth by a point in the All-Ireland semi-final. So no, they won't be taking Mayo for granted, but I do think on a psychological basis that the fact that they're not playing Cork, I think they possibly could be more relaxed in themselves and not be afraid to play and just leave everything out on the pitch.
Emma, they've had different paths to the final, of course.
Of course.
Who do you reckon is better suited in that regard? Like, I suppose the more battle-tested team, or the team that have kind of coasted their way through? Yes,
I think that, I think Mayo have had a really testing path to the final. It can't be denied that they did beat Donegal, they did beat Cork. They are huge results, and nice to have under their belt mentally going into the match. But then again, an All-Ireland final, it's what happens on the day that counts, I think. Dublin, meanwhile, they dominated Leinster, as they do kind of year in, year out. Then they had Waterford, coasted through that pretty much, and then Kerry in the semi-final. And I think that Kerry match was actually, it was quite a statement as well, to clinically put 5 goals past them. And we have to remember that Kerry beat Cork and Munster. The championship has been a bit crazy this year. Kerry beat Cork and Munster, then Galway beat Mayo in Connacht, and then Mayo actually beat Cork. So, things are kind of all over the place, which is making for a really interesting battle on Sunday.
100%. Lindsay, from a player's perspective, would you rather have that path to the final that Mayo have had, where they've overcome challenges and I suppose you gain a sense of fortitude and togetherness through that, or maybe coming in like slightly fresher from Dublin's perspective in that they haven't quite been tested to the same extent?
Personally, I'd probably rather, from a player's point of view, Mayo's road to the final. The fact that they put in such huge performances against who I personally tipped Donegal to really get to a final. I thought they were very impressive in Ulster. And then, to be honest, Mayo just really brushed them aside and really sent out a statement, as they did against Cork. So you do want the tougher teams to galvanise you mentally. And I just think Mayo have built in every game. And like Emma said, Galway beat Mayo, and then Galway went and lost to Cork, who put 6 goals by them. So it is all about on the day. But I think from a mental point of view and confidence and just knowing that you've come up against big opposition, I would have preferred Mayo's route to the final.
Yeah, well, we mentioned before we came on air, guys, like that this one is sort of sizzling nicely ahead of Sunday. There's been a managerial war of words, which are pretty hard to beat in All-Ireland final week. But I would kind of question, we'll get to that in a second, but I would question why Mick Bowen would make Cora Staunton angry ahead of an All-Ireland final. I mean, you're taking a huge risk there, surely, Lindsay.
Oh, huge risk. And let's be honest, Cora's played for 21 years now at championship level. She's 66 championship games under her belt. She's well tested at this. People have tried to annoy her year in, year out, and sometimes it's worked and sometimes it hasn't. But the Cora this year seems very relaxed and very focused, and I just hope Mick's comments don't backfire on Sunday and he gets the opposite effect. But I mean, if you look at professional players, people try and go out and annoy Cristiano Ronaldo because he is the key, and Cora is the key, one of the keys to this Mayo team. She'll be the key to the success on Sunday. So, I mean, do you take that gamble? Probably. I mean, I don't think he meant it in any way of an offensive thing, but she's just such a serious player with a lot of experience, and she knows how to play the game, and she knows how to win herself frees, and she's such a clinical free taker. So, she just uses her experience, and I think really that's all he meant by it. But as I said, you do like a bit of build-up to an All-Ireland final.
No, definitely. I mean, Cora certainly knows how to play the game. I think Mick is probably playing the game there himself a little bit. But I know Peter Lee, Mayo manager, didn't take too kindly to his words, Emma.
No, he did not. He kind of said it was an outrageous statement. It was derogatory. It was insulting. But I don't know. As Lindsay said, I don't think Mick really had kind of any malice in the comments, but it is kind of...
Why make them then?
Well, that is true, but, when things are said like that, it does add spice, definitely, coming into Sunday, I think. It's nice to have that kind of off-the-field excitement, kind of a bit of mind games, because we don't see that, in ladies football, really. Yeah, so I suppose looking at Cora then, we'll see how she gets on. I don't think she necessarily needs to be, or needs more reason to be fired up for Sunday, but who do you reckon, guys, is going to mark her? Lindsay, we might start with yourself. How do you handle Cora? And obviously then you've got this supporting cast, particularly this, I think, risen to many an occasion, and it's no longer a kind of a one-woman show there.
No, and I think we've seen that with Cora's move from sort of the half-forward line into the full forward. Now she doesn't have to do all that work of winning the ball and creating her own scores. She's players like Sarah Rowe, the Kelly sisters, who are well able to win ball and get ball into her and will work off her. And you want her in near the goal so she can just turn and do that less work. Who do I think will mark her? I think it'll be Sinead Finnegan to start off. I think personally, knowing Sinead as well as I do, she is such a good man marker. She's well able to stay with her. She reads the game very well, but she has her work cut out on Sunday, and she won't be underestimating what Cora can do herself individually and what she'll do for the Mayo team. So I think definitely she'll start on her, and it'll be her job to be disciplined and just stay with her and pick her timing, as did Breed Stack. Did a very good job in the semi-final on her, and she was very disciplined and kept and waited until it was the right time to make the tackle. You don't want to be, people will be fired up, and that's the good thing from Sinead's point of view. She's very level-headed. She won't, like myself, let the blood rush to her head and go all gung-ho and risk getting a yellow card or give an easy freeze to Cora, who'll just pop them over the bar. So I think it's Sinead's job on Sunday. Yeah,
I think Lindsay last year, it was Sinead started on her, and then Sinead Goldrick moved back, and they kind of double teamed on her in that semi-final last year. So there are different possibilities, but as you said, Cora is the type of player that she kind of just frustrates her marker, so she's happy to hold on to the ball but the defender on her has to be patient, because if you kind of lose the cool, give away a free, it's over the bar pretty much.
Yeah. And we've seen that last year. I thought Dublin at times were wasteful in possession and gave away easy frees. And I think the turning point in that game was Aileen Gilroy getting carded and sent off. And as I said, then Sinead Ahern with nerves of steel to seal a free for the win. So there'll be very little. It'll be small margins on Sunday. And as I said, it'll be key to how we handle Cora on the day, to how she influences the game, and obviously what she does when she gets the ball herself.
Yeah, before we move on to the tactical element of the game, Lindsay, put just on the, I suppose in the likelihood that this is the last time we see Cora in the green and gold, depending on what she decides.
Green and gold.
Or sorry, the green and red, green and gold. Yeah, she'd probably kill me for saying that. Apologies, Cora, if you're watching. But on the off chance it is the last time we see her for Mayo, or in the likelihood, put her legacy into perspective, like as a former fellow player, because I know there's an enormous amount of respect for her within the game, of course, from players, but there's also been, like I remember chatting to Preach Corkery last year, who said she had saved some of Cora's comments on her phone as a kind of a motivational tool, you know what I mean? How will she be remembered by the players that she played against?
But she will be the pinnacle. She's that opponent you want to take down, but you always want to play against. As I said, she started and played 66 championship games, and in those 66 she's been held scoreless twice. Like, that's phenomenal. I think there was a figure thrown out this week of 59 goals and over 476 points. Like, again, that's phenomenal. You know, like, when you put the stats down, like, that is ridiculous. Yeah. And besides whether she's a man or a woman, what she's done for this game over a 21-year career, hopefully possibly more, is been exceptional, because every time she raises the bar, because let's be honest, from where the game was in 1996 to where it is today, it has really taken off. And the standards of players and training and the athletes we're seeing now every week in championship football has risen. So for her to continue that rise, as I said, she's the standard setter. She's the player you want to play with. But if you're an opposing player, you're the one she's the player you want to take down. And secretly you want to emulate and take pointers off and see how she handles herself. So what she's done for the game is, we'll never forget it. And she's in the GAA Hall of Fame for that reason. So hopefully, as I said, she won't hang up, but I do think it's been a long career for her, and it has to end someday. And if they do win on Sunday, I think it'll probably be a nice send off. Obviously, as a Dublin ex-player and supporter, I hope that isn't the case, but yeah, she's a legend.
Yeah, big time. It's difficult to put ourselves in Cora's shoes, of course, but say if Dublin were to get over the line against Mayo on Sunday, do you reckon there's a chance she gives it one more year? Like, I know she came very close last year to calling it, but just said she'd have one last stab at it. Do you then have another one?
Look, it's Cora Staunton. Like,
true.
There is that burning desire in her to win and to succeed, and she's said it before, she'll say it again. As long as she's enjoying her football and she's fit to play, she's going to keep playing, and I wouldn't rule out another year. Depending on the result on Sunday, I think. Yeah.
I remember at the end of last season, you talk about mind games, and some of the Mayo players, Sarah Rowe on her Snapchat story, I think, had videos of the players drinking retirement drinks for Cora. So a lot of probably false hope for some of the opposition players. No.
I was just going to say, any excuse from Sarah Rowe. It could be someone's birthday next week, and it's just any excuse for Sarah.
I suppose tactically, talk us through this one. Like, we were kind of saying that we're hoping it's not going to be an overly defensive game, and I think Mayo in particular, like, if you look at their running game, there's the opportunity here for an absolute barn burner to break out just stylistically in terms of how they match up. Talk us through maybe Mayo's setup, and we'll ask Lindsay then for Dublin's perspective on it.
Yeah, I suppose, look, I think in games, in any game, look, the midfield battle is important, and it is cliche and it is kind of said that the game will be around the middle, the half forward lines, half back line, and the midfield will have a big say in things. But I think this game, it really is heating up that way. Aileen Gilroy and Fiona McHale in Mayo's midfield have been phenomenal so far this year, and Lauren McGee, a young player, and Alwyn Carey, they're both named to start as it is, but anything could kind of happen with Dublin. I'm sure Lindsay will bring us through that now. But looking at Mayo this year, I've been very impressed by them. I thought they were brilliant against Donegal that day. Their inside forward line, I suppose, over the past few years it has always been about Cora, and that can't be denied, but younger players like Sarah Rowe herself, like Niamh Kelly and like Grace Kelly, the two sisters, just to name but a few, they've kind of stepped up to the mark and they've kind of backed Cora up big time. And then I suppose that running game is quite dangerous, but Dublin have kind of one of their own as well.
That's true. Yeah, Lindsay, Dublin, how do you reckon they're going to go into this one? How are they going to approach it and even counteract what Mayo are bringing to the table?
It's funny because I do think both teams play very, very similar. They move the ball very quick. They're very fit. They can attack from deep. We've seen with both teams, they can attack from just deep inside their own half and score phenomenal points. So they can also move the ball quickly and then have intricate play between their forward lines. So it's funny because both forward lines are going to be very dangerous. The same with the half-back lines from their attack. But to echo what Emma said, I think it's going to be the midfield battle, and I think Fiona McHale, with all her years' experience, just like Cora, knows how to play the game. And boy, has she found a partner in Aileen Gilroy, who I think is a phenomenal athlete. Like, look at her goal from Cork, ran the half of the pitch, and what a finish. It would be the one, I was thinking about this, what's the one area I feel would affect both teams, and as I said, they mirror each other very similarly. It'll be the midfield battle. I think Laura McGee is a young Fiona McHale. She's balshy, she is balshy, but is she just raw? And so is Alwyn. They're both just in 20 and 21, whereas Fiona is in late 20s, early 30s, and obviously Aileen is a young player, but I think their partnership has one that has stood out. I mean, they absolutely destroyed the Donegal midfielder of Karen Guthrie. Cork didn't really have a set midfield with them. And I think this is only the second time that this has been the same Dublin team that has started consecutive matches. So I'm hoping Mick will stick to the tactics that have got him here today, and to play quick, free-flowing football, be very defensive, let the players look after their own individual players, and when they win the ball, make use of it, exactly like they've done. Dublin have scored freely in all of their matches, especially with goals. So I'm hoping it's more the same on Sunday. But as I said, I think it'll be the big battle that'll change the game or swing the game. Will be midfield.
I think as well, Sinead O'Hearn will have a big impact on the game. She's been playing out of her skin this year, has to be said.
Yeah.
And there is kind of this whole hype around Cora going into the match, but look what Dublin have on the other end. They have Sinead, they have other forwards. Look at Nicole Owens, has been playing brilliant stuff. Other girls looking to kind of get over the line on Sunday, but Sinead, I think, will have a big say in the game on Sunday.
I think she will, and I'm glad you touched on that, because I think it's been one of our best seasons since she come back after having obviously the year out, after we lost in 2014. But to be honest, Nicole Owens has really matured into something who was a very raw footballer, and I think she's really matured for her age, and she's a real threat. I think Noelle Healy as well, who had 2-3 against Westmeath. I think Niamh McAvoy going in as full forward, I think the same thing. She's a very skillful player, but she'll also win dirty ball, and the two girls will come off. I think the biggest switch for me this season is to see Noelle Healy in the full forward line. Noelle is a phenomenal player and really can play anywhere. Has obviously played midfield last year. She's played at centre half back. But for me, for her speed to win ball, to take on players, and then obviously again matured with her decision. And that's been another big thing with Dublin this year. Up to this year, there's been the same mistakes over and over again, and they play the same way. And there's something just a little bit different about this Dublin team. It's not the same mistakes we've been making in years previous that obviously have lost us 3 in a row. So I think those players will stand out, and I think Sinead will have a big impact. But I think the players around her, like for Cora, will also play a big part.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. Charlie Byrne has commented, he says, or maybe she says, Honda Jackies a win this time. That is Charlie's prediction. Emma, I might get yours and then ask for Lindsay's to see us off. How do you reckon it's going to go? Who wins and why?
I hate being put in these positions, Gav.
No, I actually didn't even warn you I was going to do this.
No,
I apologise.
You did not. But look, I suppose it is the big question. Look, my heart's saying Mayo. Just
Lindsay looks cross there.
Sorry, Lindsay. From what I've seen of them this year, I think they have been impressive. They deserve their spot in the final. But then again, Dublin, they're just this clinical force this year, I feel. But then again, it will be interesting to see how Sunday goes, because I don't think they've been truly tested. So I know I'm really on the fence here.
Lindsay, put some clarity on it, will you please?
I will. I'm going to say Dublin by 2.
Oh.
I echo everything that Emma said. I think Mayo are hugely deserving of their place in the final. I think it'll be hopefully a cracking game if both teams stick to the free-flowing football they've been playing. We haven't been tested, but I do think that they're hurt over the previous 3 years. I'll show you the scars, except, it would be inappropriate for TV. But we do hold them, and I think those scars and that hurt and all that experience through those losses will stand to us on Sunday.
Very good. Well, Lindsay Peat, thanks a million for joining us on Close Calls. Enjoy the weekend and enjoy the game, and our best to young Barra as well.
Thank you very much. Hopefully Dublin win, but thank you very much for having me, guys.
Cheers, Lindsay.
Not at all. Emma, thanks a million.
Thank you, Gavin.
That is all we've got time for on Close Calls this week. We will be back in 2 weeks' time, I believe, to look ahead to Ireland's World Cup qualifiers. Our thanks as always go to Eirsport, and a thanks to yourselves at home for watching as well. Enjoy the weekend, enjoy the game, and until a fortnight's time, see you then. Cheers.